Yeah, that's what I've been waiting for, baby!
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to ReddX Trace Amounts of Science. Today we are diving back into two neckbeards and a legbeard. They're all nesting around OP, and OP just can't see any way out of it. I was lured back to this one especially quick because OP promised me that one of the neckbeards, Declan, was going to get owned by a lady in a Burger King. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I hope that you're looking forward to it as well. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's get on into this thing. Living with two neckbeards and a legbeard, part number 3. If you missed parts 1 and 2, playlist in the description. Thanks so much. Hey Reddit peoples, hi OP. I've returned with yet another tale of our time living with the Neckbeard clan. Yes, quite a little family thing they have going on there, isn't it? So I was trying to think of some more stories about Mike, Declan, and Janice that aren't as creepy, and I was genuinely having a tough time thinking of one. That is, until I turned to Carrie for help and was met with, tell them about rent! Tell them about rent! And yeah, here we are. Who's Rent? What? Or you capitalize, it's a person? We'd been living with the three from hell for about a year at this point. As I said in my first post, Carrie and I are theater kids, and we were part of the local drama group. Oh, Rent! Now, the way this group worked was that there would be a group of peeps who'd be the main cast, and then there would be the understudies who also would play minor side characters. It'd be like this for one show, and then we'd switch, and the understudies would get their chance to shine. It was a pretty good system. Yeah, but you're still calling them the understudies? No, they're the main guys now, right? Anyway, as it happened, Carrie and I had been the understudies for our last play, Hairspray, so we'd been cast as main characters for our next musical, Rent. Carrie had been cast as Joanne, and I'd been cast as Mark. I haven't seen Rent, but I hope you're the biggest star of the thing and not the guy that gets AIDS. Anyway, nothing of note ever really happened during the rehearsal period with the Beard Trio, except when they asked us about the play. Mike had heard from a mutual friend about the production and had begun to pester us about it, asking about who we were playing and what the show was about and when tickets for the show would be sold, etc. Oh yeah, what an asshole trying to support the thing. I mean, I don't know. He probably is in it for his own devices and stuff like that, but at least he's being supportive, you know, in his way. Sorry for pestering you about the thing you enjoy doing. What's your problem, dude? We tried to be as vague as possible, but wound up giving in and telling them a little about the characters that we'd be playing. But I tried not to give them too much information. I'm gonna be real with you peeps, we really didn't want them to come to the show. I mean, yeah, it's two bodies. We're probably gonna pack the house anyway. Mike and Janice had come to see Hairspray, and despite us playing minor characters, they found any excuse to tell us how great our performance had been. Now, yeah, I'm all for supporting friends, but there's being supportive and there's being, well, weird. Yeah, overly supportive, I guess is what you'd call it. They'd say things like, oh, weren't you guys the cutest little things? Like they were talking to a couple of kids. Or, that dress was so pretty. You look just like Princess Tutu. For context, I believe Princess Tutu is an anime character, one that Mike had admitted to crushing on. God, this is a mess. I love it. Basically, all their comments were either about how we looked or cute things that we did. Yeah, so they're not really being supportive. They don't even really see you as people. You're just like sexual objects to them. I guess I'll pretend to be interested in the thing that you're in the hopes that you'll bang me. It never works. It never ever works. That's not true. We should never use absolutes. Absolutely not ever. Anyway, since Lady Luck was clearly not on our side, and we were too awkward to tell them no, Mike and Janice and Declan decided that they were coming to the show. It would be so easy to say no. A little bit of an awkward conversation. I'd probably let them come too, I don't care. Make sure you bring some flowers to throw on stage when I bow. They had rented the movie adaptation on Amazon of Rent and appeared very excited to see the show, thanks to the more suggestive nature of some of the songs, which they later backtracked on and deemed to be too inappropriate. Yeah, great. I love a fucking music. Avenue Q. It's really the puppets that get me with Avenue Q. Inappropriate songs are good though. Maybe I should give Rent a chance. I don't know. Anyway, fast forward to the night of the show. The Beard clan made their way to their seats, bombarding everyone with the vile stench of their BO as they went. The lights dimmed and our director went on stage to introduce the performance. Overall, the show went great. The only issue we had during the performance was with Declan wolf whistling at Alice, the girl playing Mimi. He actually tried to come on to her when we met up after the show. She politely shut him down and informed him that she had to hurry and catch her bus, so she'd be home in time to have dinner with her boyfriend. Declan had tried to win her over by telling her that a real boyfriend will be here to pick up his girl and drive her home, instead of making her go home alone with all the creeps out there. You're talking about yourself, aren't you?
Get the hell out of here and stay out, you pervert!
Alice informed him that her boyfriend can't drive in hopes that Declan would just piss off. This is also the point where Carrie and I tried to intervene and get him to stop talking, but of course, he didn't. He went on to call Alice's boyfriend lazy and unmotivated for not wanting to learn how to drive, and that he didn't understand why she'd want to date someone that can't be bothered to learn such an essential skill. We tried to stop him, we really did, but he would not listen. I mean, yeah, just let him shoot himself in the foot. Alice knows what she's doing. She's got it handled. Oh, and then OP throws this monkey wrench at us. The reason Alice's boyfriend doesn't drive is because he's severely visually impaired. I mean, yeah, not that there's anything wrong with never learning to drive. I haven't, and Declan also hadn't either at this point. But God, man, that hurts just to think about. He'd essentially spent the next 5 minutes berating a blind guy for not learning to drive. That is fucking wild. His ego's just out of control. He can't stop. This is the death spiral. He just sort of paused, not sure of what to say next. It must have dawned on him that he was acting like a complete bag because he just muttered a sorry and didn't say anything else. Yeah, that's the best apology you can give me. Just stay quiet forever, okay? Myself and Carrie were also not free from beard drama surrounding the performance. You see, Mike and Janice had still not gotten the idea of a, 3-4 polyamory thing out of their head. Oh, I know they haven't, OP. You know those really possessive partners that don't want their partner talking to anyone except for them? The ones that make you want to smack them in the teeth? Well, that's the way Mike and Janice acted with myself and Carrie, except we weren't dating, and Mike didn't have any teeth left to smack. That is disgusting. But you just wait till he takes his dentures out, because it feels... Never mind. I'm not going to say it out loud. It's horrible. It's a throwback to the first story for the uninitiated. I'm not being completely untoward here. Anyway, this is a test for you, OP. You really need to learn how to draw your line in the sand, you know? They didn't mind us being close to each other, but God forbid that we like being around other people. When we got home from the show, Janice immediately started fussing over Carrie, asking her if she was okay. Apparently, she was convinced that Sasha, the girl playing Maureen, Carrie's girlfriend in the play, had been harassing Carrie for the entire show by, wait for it, acting like her girlfriend. There was hand-holding and kissing and hugging. It was carnage and completely out of line. I mean, it's not like the script requires the actors playing couples to act like real couples. How absurd. I don't know how this whole thing could get any more awkward, honestly. It's terrible. Maureen's character is extremely suggestive. They saw it in the movie. So I don't understand why Janice was so surprised that Sasha had acted the way she did. Because it was in the fucking script. I'd managed to sneak a glance at the group in the audience during Take Me or Leave Me, which is the Carrie and Sasha duet. And Janice had just sat there, face like fizz, as she watched them perform. Oh yeah, she mad. Good thing she's also completely impotent and unable to do anything about it. Janice appeared to get more pissed off when Carrie did that kind of stuff with girls, though, even bringing up the fact that she wished Carrie would have played Angel, who is a trans/drag queen character. Her gender identity seems to vary with different shows, because if Carrie played Angel, then Janice wouldn't have had to watch her, quote-unquote, dancing around with that tramp. It also apparently made sense for Carrie to play a trans character, with her being trans and all, because, God forbid she be able to play anyone else. I think Mike and Janice think about Carrie's gender identity more than Carrie does. I wasn't able to escape their jealousy either. You see, there's a song in the show, La Vie Boheme, which is where I got my username from, where the characters sing about a bunch of stuff, including doing it and S&M and jerking it, which, it's always fun. I guess, if you're into it, sure. But always fun is there's a blanket statement. I said we never use those.
Joke's on you, I'm into that shit!
During the line, to sodomy, it's between God and me, to S&M, myself and a friend James decided it would be funny for me to put a hand on top of his head and push him onto his knees. You folks will know what we was miming, and then pretend to slap him around when we got to the S&M line. So yeah, not exactly family friendly, but I don't know, it fit with the song. The director and audience found it funny, and most importantly, it was just a little bit of fun. Hell yeah, bro. Simulated blowjob on stage. That's fun if I've ever seen it. I'm not above it. You're there to entertain. You've done a hell of a job. Congratulations. As you probably already guessed, the Beards didn't like that act either. They believed that those sorts of things were far too inappropriate for me to be performing. Quick reminder, I was like 20 at the time. Mike told me that he thought it was cute that I'd chosen to do something so quirky, but that I didn't want to give people the wrong idea. People might get the idea that I was interested in doing those sorts of things with men. Okay, 1, I was a 20-year-old gay kid. Of course I was fucking interested in that. And 2, who the hell did he think he was, telling me what I should be interested in? And also 3, it was a freaking joke for a fucking show. James is an absolute sweetheart, but I don't like him like that. And he was also very happy with his fiancée, now wife. Yeah, this is like one of those consent memes. I consent, isn't there someone you forgot to ask? And it's just the neckbeard standing around looking sour. You paid the ticket, you watched the show. If you didn't like some parts, I don't give a fuck. Don't come to the next one. That's all I got to say about it, truly. The Klan didn't come to any of our productions after this. Hey, up top, as Mike and Janice didn't want to see us in such a sexual scenario. Yeah, right. They said it as if it were something that was going to upset us, but no. Bye, bitch. You 3 will not be missed. No, truly. That's ludicrous that they expected it to be a thing at all. You want to go? You don't want to go? I don't give a shit. I'm still going to do the thing. So that's the Rent story. Not really all that exciting, but living with beards never is. It's more just, awkward and creepy. Yeah, we can get into that too. That's like visceral. Also, I just remembered that I had mentioned the incident with Declan trying to save a lady in Burger King in my previous post, so I'll just add this in here. Dude, that's what I've been waiting for, baby!
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
Basically, the 5 of us decided to go out and do some shopping and grab a bit of lunch. Or, more accurately, Carrie and I had planned to, and the other 3 invited themselves along. At Mike's insistence, we stopped at Burger King for food. Mike and Janice grabbed a seat, giving us their order. I just realized they didn't give us any money for that, so yeah, there's 20 quid I won't be getting back. Declan had opted to come up to the counter to order with us, as he didn't trust us to get his order right. Because as we all know, remembering Burger King orders is just so difficult. I mean, tell me like a number and then a size. 5 large, I'll be like, okay, I got that. But if you're gonna get all weird with it, no lettuce, extra pickles, ketchup on the side, like fucking, yeah, you tell them yourself. Anyway, we paid for our order, and we were waiting for our food when we noticed Declan staring at a couple sitting near us. They were maybe in their mid-20s and were joking around with each other. The guy had stolen a chip from the girl, and she jokingly slapped his arm, calling him an asshole, in the way that loving couples do. Declan apparently didn't like this and decided he had to speak up. Oh yeah, definitely save her from her, who was clearly her partner. Something along the lines of how it was disgusting how some guys would gladly see their girlfriend starve and think it was funny. What? He stole a chip. Clearly his partner was fine with it. Declan did not need to get involved. I mean, truly he didn't, but aren't you glad that he did? You know the situation with Alice? Well, yeah, this was basically that, but with someone that we didn't know at all. So if they decided to kick the shit out of Declan for being a creep, well, there really wasn't much we could do. Not that we'd really want to, anyway. We tried to distract him, but Declan wasn't having it. The couple had heard him talking as they looked around, but it hadn't registered that Declan was talking about them. Because, you know, the guy had stolen a chip. He wasn't exactly starving his girlfriend, so Declan decided to take it one step further. He went over to them and tapped the girl on the shoulder and asked her if she'd like some of his chips because, quote-unquote, clearly the seagull beside you doesn't want you to eat. The guy stole a chip. One single chip. Declan, why are you like this? That's so real. Needless to say, the girl shut him down pretty quick with a simple fuck off. He tried again, telling her that he was just looking out for her. This was probably their first or second date, right? Declan said if he was gonna act like this so early in the relationship, then God knows what it would be like down the line. And Declan was just trying to, quote-unquote, spare her the hassle. The guy then spoke up and told Declan that he and his wife were very happy and that he needed to back the fuck off. Declan just didn't know when to shut up, so he made a comment that I think was supposed to be a bit of a threat about how he went to the gym a lot. Yeah, okay. Throw the first punch, pal. Opie says, I won't lie, Declan did go to the gym, and he was in pretty good shape, even with his less than healthy diet. But this guy he was threatening was built like a brick shithouse, and would have easily punched him into next week. That's what I want. Oh well. We managed to hold our tempers, for now, it seems. The interaction would have continued, and maybe led to a full-on fight, had the woman not spoken up. She'd gone for the simple yet classic, away and bile your aid for interfering, wee fud. Yeah, those words mean something to somebody out there. Apparently Declan understood, because with that, Declan went in a huff, turning back to wait for his food. He glared at the couple as we headed back to our table, and continued to glare as they left the building. Carrie and I also received a couple of glares for giggling, because we were all supposed to feel sorry for him. Sorry, sweetheart, you get no sympathy for acting like a creep. Yeah, people like to come in on like the back end of the story and be like, I know everything that happened. You know nothing, shut the fuck up. Anyway, this is getting really long, so I'm gonna stop it here. I'll probably be posting a good few of these tales. Not like I can do anything else at the minute until my ankle's better anyway. Bye, folks! I hope your ankle's better like a year down the line, OP. I thought this was a rather good tale. The Burger King thing, I wish there would have been a fight, truly, but it's hilarious that Declan would take it upon himself to be like, I'll save her. Men should not eat women's chips. Like, oh, but she could take all the chips she wants from me, right? No, this is equality. I also like the Rent story pretty good because, you know, that's a good way to get Mike and Janice to loosen their grip. Oh, you're uncomfortable with this thing? Well, I'm gonna do it some more. See how you like it. Did you enjoy this part, Gubbinses? How do you feel?
3 goblins squatting in a landfill, calling it a household. Declan thinks he's the voice of reason because he screams the loudest. Mike's trying to date a JPEG. And Janice is just jealous that fiction gets more affection than she ever will. I'd say they were meant for each other, but that's only because they truly aren't meant for anyone else. Gubbins.
Nicely done. How about you, Dargon?
Declan,
a man built entirely out of hot air and Axe body spray. Mike, a failed experiment in loneliness given legs. Janice, powered by spite and off-brand energy drinks. Together they form the unholy trinity of unfulfilled potential. They think rent was offensive, but the only obscenity was them sitting there pretending to be people. Dark gubbins.
Damn, dude. It really came after him at the end there. Yeah, they are people, let's be clear, but just barely, okay? Let's get into the next part and see what it has for us, shall we? This is Living with Two Neckbeards and a Legbeard part number 4. Hey Reddit peoples, hi again OP. I'm back again, yeah me too! So Carrie and I have been in full-blown Halloween mode lately. Dude, fuck yeah, spooky month. I love it. And we've been getting all the last finishing touches ready for our costumes this year. Like honestly, who would have thought getting silver hairspray would be so difficult? Are you going as a robot? Or David Bowie? Anyway, this is what sparked the memory of this tale, and since we're in the spooky season, it seemed appropriate to share this now. I love it. Perfect. Executed flawlessly. So yeah, this was our second and last Halloween living with the Neckbeard clan. The previous year, we had to deal with Mike and Janice's comments about our costumes. Carrie and I had opted to go as Chucky and Tiffany, which sort of pissed Mike and Janice off as they wanted us all to do a group costume. Yeah, Wizard of Oz or bust. They wanted us all to go as Nightmare on Elm Street characters, with Mike and Janice being Freddy and Nancy, and myself and Carrie being Glenn and Tina. They'd planned our outfits to the very last detail, including the crop top that Glenn wears and Tina's oversized shirt, but they were so considerate that they let Carrie know she could wear hot pants instead of just underwear. Wow. Yes, how generous of you. I'm not gonna do any of that. Like, I guess people know fucking Freddy Krueger, but like, who is Glenn and Tina? Am I gonna go rewatch Nightmare on Elm Street to find out? Definitely not. Maybe a trip to IMDb. Who cares? Opie says, I'm sure you can all guess how well they took the news that we had already planned our outfits. Yeah, a hell of a lot of bitter comments. However, the bitter comments didn't last too long and soon turned creepy, as they tended to with this pair, and they opted to talk to me like a child, as had become a fucking habit with them, and told me how adorable I looked in my little dungarees. Although Carrie, as usual, got it even worse. She was told countless times how her dress was the perfect length for such a beautiful and seductive character. They also went out of their way to talk about how sexy Tiffany was, in doll form, might I add, and would make sure to loop the comment back to Carrie, like essentially calling her hot constantly without explicitly saying it, if that makes sense. I mean, it's pretty explicit. Then that way they could just deny that they were talking about Carrie. I don't know, guys. It just sort of weirded us out. Yeah, they're really just not gonna let that shit go ever. Well, you went through 2 years of this? Never drew the line in the sand? How does all this end, I guess is the question I really have. Anyway, needless to say, Carrie and I didn't feel like hanging around with the creepy couple for Halloween this year, so we had opted to take my little cousin out trick-or-treating. Mike and Janice complained about our costumes as they were too babyish. Yeah, says the pair that took great pleasure in talking to me like a toddler the year prior. We'd went as Cosmo and Wanda from the Fairly Odd Parents, and my little cousin dressed up as Timmy, as this was his favorite cartoon. I don't know what the beard couple were expecting us to dress as. Like, we were taking a child out trick-or-treating after all, so obviously it wasn't going to be something inappropriate. Yeah, have some fucking taste. Here is a soul that is precious and innocent and hasn't been ruined by the world quite yet, and you want to take that away from them? How dare you? We decided to go trick-or-treating with my little cousin for a couple hours, then hop on the train to meet up with some friends of ours from our drama group and go to a few pubs. However, we told Janice, Mike, and Declan that we were going to Carrie's sister's house for a drink so they wouldn't follow us. Janice and Carrie's sister hate each other, by the way. Mike and Janice had planned to stay home and drink and smoke and eat sweets and watch TV. So yeah, basically the usual for them. Whilst Declan was going out for a few drinks with some friends. It honestly amazes me that people would willingly be around him, to be honest. I mean, have you birds of a feather? Take a look at his friend group. It'll make a lot of sense really soon. Not too long after dinner, my auntie came over to drop the wee man off, as well as a pumpkin spice scented candle to battle the neckbeard smell. Fucking legend. We really didn't want him to be in the flat for too long. Carrie and I really tried to keep the place clean. We really did, but the mess was so difficult to contain at this point.
Damn, bitch. You live like this?
There were just so many takeout containers, and seeing as we only had one green bin, there often wasn't enough room to fit all of them in. There was one time where my uncle had offered to take all the rubbish to the dump for us if we bagged it all up, and there were 8 bin bags filled to the brim just with their rubbish. It was humiliating. I mean, yeah, you shouldn't need to do that. What the fuck? But we all go through humiliating things sometimes. What's humiliating for me is coming to you with my hand out and being like, hey guys, sign up for Patreon or YouTube memberships. I'd really appreciate it. You know, it's a little humiliating, but sometimes it works, so I gotta try. Also, check us out on Spotify and iTunes if you wanted. Thanks so much. Great plug. Flawless. Fucking let's get back into it. Anyhow, we brought the wee yin to our room, the only clean room in the flat, so we could grab jackets, wallets, purses, etc. until Carrie decided to put on some thicker tights as it gets pretty cold here, and we decided to give her some privacy, which unfortunately for us meant standing awkwardly in the living room with the Mike and Janice. At the very least, we didn't have to deal with Declan as he was headed off to the gym, no doubt to try and impress some pretty ladies with his manly scent. Read B.O. Yeah, check out them fro moms, baby. Mike wasn't really a fan of kids. Yeah, except for Princess Tutu. You fucking degenerate. It's not like he hated them or anything, but he just never seemed to know how to interact with them, which led to him avoiding them altogether. It's so easy to interact with a kid. Say hello. They'll be into whatever you're into. The real reason he doesn't want to interact with kids is because he has, like, a proclivity that we should probably put the boots to him for. You know, I'm not fucking thought police out here or anything, but I do make exceptions for that one singular instance, that one thing. Anyway, Janice, on the other hand, often told us that she wanted to have a child one day and how she was going to be such a great mom. That's debatable. Yeah, I lost my baby somewhere in this trash pile. Just wait till he starts crying, I guess. So, she was often a bit too eager to spend time with kids. Mike's face dropped a little as we entered the living room. He said hi to me and greeted my little cousin with an "all right, wee bad" and a half wave. However, Janice's eyes lit up. I'm gonna call my little cousin Tommy for the rest of this post, and Tommy just sort of waved back to them and then returned to excitedly chattering away to me about how many sweets he was gonna get. This is when Janice decided to head over to see Tommy. I saw her head over, arms outstretched, and I quickly scooped Tommy up into my arms before Janice could pick him up. That's smart, dude. She probably would run out the door with him. I know Carrie and I weren't the best at keeping ourselves safe from our neckbeard roommates, but there was no way in hell that I was letting Janice get close to my little cousin. We tried to keep a distance between our families and the Beard clan, so for the most part, the only information they had on mine and Carrie's family were through the minor interactions that couldn't be avoided, and through them practically Facebook stalking us. That's good OPSEC, OP. I like that a lot. Janice looked pretty disappointed that she couldn't pick Tommy up, but she was persistent, deciding to try and make small talk with Tommy instead. She asked him about his costume at first, which Tommy was all too excited to tell her about, and then continued to speak to him for like another 10 minutes. I'd interject sometimes when things got too personal, like when she asked what school he went to. Not that I didn't trust them. Well, actually, let's be honest, I didn't trust them. But also, my aunt had been through a pretty rough split up with her ex-partner, Tommy's dad, and had opted to not tell anyone who wasn't a family or friend where the wee man went to school in case, you know, something happened. Besides, it is kind of weird to ask a kid that you barely know what school they go to. Yeah, I suppose it is. Like, some people might see it as small talk. I don't take Janice as somebody who easily identifies social boundaries and shit. So maybe I'll give her a pass on that. But good on you, OP, for watching the OPSEC. As usual, some big brain plays out here. Anyway, Janice then started to gear the conversation toward where we'd be trick-or-treating, getting really specific about what houses or streets we'd be going to. And yeah, that set off alarm bells. She was trying to figure out where we would be going so she and Mike could accidentally bump into us when we were out and they could come trick-or-treating with us. This is something they've done several times in the past, including on Carrie's birthday. Thankfully, Tommy was too young to be able to answer her questions, and I was as vague as possible with my answers. Yeah, we're going to the spooky street where they give out the good candy bars. If you don't know where it is, that's your loss, you know? Now, I do know that some people might think I'm an idiot for not just taking Tommy outside to wait, but he's a very sociable boy, and he will talk to anyone. See? Like I said, easiest thing in the world getting along with kids. However, Tommy does scare quite easily thanks to his dad, Wanker, so if I let on that anything was wrong or that I was uncomfortable, then chances were that he would notice and start to get upset. And trust me, Janice would not have been opposed to causing a scene if needed. Plus, it was pretty cold outside, and I didn't actually know how long Carrie would be. Also, my mind's sort of gone blank on how we even got to this point, but I do remember them taking a bit of tablet that they'd both been eating and putting it in Tommy's trick-or-treat bag to quote-unquote, get him started. Ew. Needless to say, it was thrown in the trash the second we left that house, and Mike made some sort of attempt at a joke, warning Tommy not to eat too many sweets and taking out his dentures as an example of what might happen. Even Tommy, a literal child, did not find this funny. It's kind of funny though, like, it's a nice attempt, okay? He made an effort, and I'm gonna give him credit for that. Anyway, thankfully Carrie came out of the bedroom and we got ready to leave. On our way out, we checked the sweets that we'd left outside. Neither of us really trusted Mike and Janice to hand out the sweets to the kids, so we opted to make up like 30 to 40 goodie bags and leave them outside for the trick-or-treaters to help themselves to. Bro, the first person that comes up that night's gonna 30, 40 goodie bags. Bam, in the bag. We're not a high-trust society anymore, don't you understand? You can't do this. Oh well, I guess we'll have to learn the hard way. There were a few gone at this point, due to parents wanting to get the trick-or-treating done while it was still light outside, but there were still loads of goodie bags left. We'd only been out for an hour when we bumped into a family friend who'd been to our street not too long ago, and she casually mentioned that there were only a couple bags left at my house. It was still pretty early, and we hadn't seen any massive amount of kids out, but we chalked it up to kids taking more than one bag and pretty much forgot about it. I mean, yeah, that would be my presumption. Then we got home and found sweets wrappers all over the place. These dirty, lousy bastards had eaten at least 20-odd trick-or-treat bags all to themselves, on top of the sweets they've been eating all day. How is it even possible to eat that much sugar? Oh, trust me, bro. Monkey brain loves sugar. Their excuse was that, those were leftover bags. They clearly weren't, because they were almost gone only an hour after we'd left. Mike then argued that it didn't matter if they ate some of the sweets because the kids would get more than enough sweets anyways, and they didn't need these ones. And we yelled at them, but yeah, there wasn't really too much we could do. The sweets were gone, Halloween was over, we'd stayed out all night and only found out what they did in the morning. I can't really think of anything else they did. This is kind of a tame one, I guess. Yeah, but it shows who they are as people, you know what I mean? Anyway, I do believe Declan might have gotten a few knockbacks when he was out, as he spent the next couple days pissed off and bitching about how girls dress like whores that act offended when they're showed a bit of male attention. They're so pathetic. And also, why can't girls put effort in their Halloween costumes like they do for conventions? Hot pants and a tail is pretty sad. Yes, because all girls must choose their costumes based on Declan's dress code. Yeah, trust me. I know what's best for you. Put on the power armor. God, I feel like a total dick, even just writing what he said. But needless to say, someone must have turned down his dashing good looks, manly odor, and amazing personality. Yes, well deserved. Like, even if he was the most good-looking, best-smelling man in the world, like, his personality is the core of it. It's all types of fucked up. You gotta get that looked at, my dude, and stop making it other people's problem. Anyway, not really much more to add to this post. I might post about the reason we moved out and the massive fallout pretty soon, and then just sort of add in some fun little anecdotes about life with the Neckbeard clan and those. I say that until Carrie mentions something that brings back more horrifying memories of living with these people, and I end up posting more. Well, guess we'll see what happens. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, yes. I like this series a lot, you know? Definitely a melange of neckbeard cringe. It doesn't exactly taste good on the tongue, but the aftertaste, you know, it's not completely poopy. And it goes down smooth. I really like Halloween, so good. Spooky season story. I think it's hilarious that OP ran interference for his little cousin. He's like, don't even touch him. I'll let you talk to him, but you don't touch him. That's a good way to go, too. Like, he's a kid, you know? Something they have might kick the shit out of his immune system. Dirty bunch of bastards they are. How did you guys feel about this one, Gubbins?
They ate 20 trick-or-treat bags like locusts in cargo shorts and called it a celebration. That's pure neckbeard gluttony. I like Halloween fine, but not when it's happening inside a biohazard. Gubbins.
I mean, that is important. You gotta get out there in the streets, you know? That's where the good candy's at. Just sit around in your own fucking dump house. It's a day for celebration!
The only spirits they summon come in plastic bottles and make them meaner. The pumpkins rot slower than they do. I like Halloween because it's honest. The ghosts are supposed to scare you, but these things, Neckbeard and legbeards, they just make you tired. Dark Gubbins.
Yeah, I guess I am pretty tired. I guess I could lay down for a little nap or something, you know? I also like the fact that you said their spirits come in plastic bottles. They're drinking Popov vodka and thinking that it's, super awesome. Not as good as Dan Aykroyd Crystal Skull vodka. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Maybe I am really tired. I hope you guys will sign up on Patreon, YouTube memberships. Do the thing. I appreciate you. Like I tell you all the time, you know? You are loved. You are worthy. You definitely deserve it. And thank you so much for stopping by. Until the next time. Bye-bye.
何バカ